If you want to know where quality and continuous improvement are going, you need to be talking to the right people. And I have just the right person as my guest today. Her name is Michelle Bangert. She's the editor of Quality Magazine. And I'm going to ask her some questions about trends she's seen over the past and where she sees CI and quality going into the future. So, welcome to the program, Michelle.
Thank you, Greg.
It's really great to have you. Let me start by simply asking for you about where do you see quality and CI going? What are the trends that you're starting to see?
Yeah, it's definitely a broader, like company-wide initiative lately. Back in the old days, it might be a quality department, and that was it. Those were the bad guys, and people, were scared of them. But now it seems like more and more companies talk about, we have a quality department of 100 people because everyone's responsible for quality. And so it seems like that will only continue to grow. And as far as continuous improvement, it feels like that's such a trend too. People talk about various aspects of kaizen and other initiatives, and it seems like that makes for a more fun workplace and a more productive workplace as well, since everyone's thinking like, how can I make this better? And that makes you know things interesting and rewarding to know like, oh, I have an idea that we can implement, instead of just like, I see the same problems happening every day and I don't know how to fix them, or I do but no one listens to me when I suggest them. So it really seems like there's a lot of positive changes going on in quality.
So the submissions that you receive in your magazine, then would they be from you talked about the quality department. Are they from the leaders of those quality departments, or are you starting to see more submissions from people generally at different levels of an organization?
Yeah, definitely different levels. So we have some people who are, the quality manager, and they have a guest column about, things they've seen, or more of a senior level person who's maybe even, a retired consultant. They've been in the field a long time, we have a columnist who retired from Caterpillar, and, so they've seen a lot in their career and they really enjoy sharing things they've learned, advice they have, things that could help other people. So I really enjoy reading everyone's work. And I think the best stuff too is when people have concrete examples. So they have an example of, windows not being closed and flies getting stuck in material. That's like an easy fix. They realize we need to do some building maintenance. And so those are always very memorable, those kind of stories.
So, you obviously see quality from a different perspective than those that are experienced in writing about it. You read about it and you read about people's experience. Has it changed your perspective on quality, a definition? You've been an editor for how long?
18 years. So it's
18
been a
years.
while.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it seems like more and more people are saying, like, this is a whole company wide thing and it's exciting. A lot of times people fall into quality, but I think there are, more and more like graduate programs or other things where people maybe start out on the manufacturing floor and then they somehow, people say, like, lose a bet or something, that's how they get into quality. So, but then maybe they want to, further the education and, take another degree in it. So it seems like it is getting more traction, and, there's so many associations and ways to get involved. So when you talk to ASQ or other groups, you hear like this, was a great field. And once I kind of fell into it, I met all these other like-minded people, and, that was really rewarding for them, this community of quality people, because in the past it could feel kind of lonely, maybe like you're the one quality police against, production or something like that. So this way you have others to help you.
And that's true, right? Back in the day, quality auditors were seen as the police department for quality, that they would walk around trying to catch people doing things wrong and things like that. And that perspective has definitely shifted. You agree?
Yeah, definitely. It seems like it's much more collaborative. Like, we're on the same team. We all have the same goals, regardless of what department we're in. We want amazing products that our customers are delighted by, and, do well at work, and, not create problems and recalls and all these other issues that, just create headaches for everyone. So people realize, like, yes, let's do things right the first time and double check parts that are going into aerospace test flights, and, all these amazing stories you hear people at work, just like realizing, like, I have an instinct something is wrong, and, they're able to fix something at the last minute and, stop a shipment from going out or a plane from going in the sky. And So there's so many areas where I think people they do feel good about it. And even in the past, I talked to some people who were involved in whistleblower cases from like the
Mm.
90s. And I mean, those were amazing stories too, because it was like there's one kind of problematic individual who's just signing off on things without checking them. In this one case, the man felt like I can't just sit by, like these are going to go into planes and other things that, you know, I can't let this happen. So that was a great story too, just to hear more about, you know, different perspectives in quality or, you know, the lack of and
So would that be one of your most memorable type of ones? I'm certainly having an interview with a whistleblower would really, I think, be an interesting topic and discussion. What would others come to your mind?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like whenever people have personal examples, those are always very memorable. So again, just the one with it was like flies and dyes or whatever he was talking about, you know, they didn't fix these screens, this problem cropped up like seasonally. And so it was just so great to be like, this is an easy problem to fix, you know, like we've recognized it, we can address it. We don't have to keep, you know, correcting things in the back end. Let's make things right in the beginning and then we're all done with the problem. So those kind of stories I think are always very memorable. And whenever people have examples of, you know, again, like a test flight that didn't go up or, you know, just some other
Mm.
pivotal thing where they were able to solve something. I interviewed someone at Ford and he had a story where there was like one defect and he went back and like walked the floor to where it started and talked to the person, the operator involved. And the operator asked, like, how many did you find? And he said, oh, just this one. He's like, and you're like making this big effort to come track me down and see it. And he said, well, you know, I just wanted to show him that this was really important and worth addressing because otherwise it'll crop up again in a month or, you know, some other issue. So we need to address the root cause right away. So those are always great to hear. And, you know, these same people who manage to make it a really nice interaction, you know, sometimes people don't like new initiatives or, you know, someone telling them what not to do. But he said, like, you know, they shook hands. It was really like a very friendly exchange. And so those were always nice to see too. Like it doesn't have to be a big drawn out fight about you're doing things wrong. It's just, you know,
Right.
collaborative.
When people think quality, I think a lot of people think regulatory, right? They think,
Mm.
okay, quality is associated with meeting certain ISO standards or quality standards or food safety standards. And you talked about aerospace, I mean, aerospace standards. Do you think that's where quality kind of has found its place, or do you feel it's way more than regulatory compliance when it comes to quality?
It does feel more than regulatory. I know whenever there's like a new ISO standard or whispers of what's in one coming out, it's all a exciting time. Everyone's, you know, trying to hear what's new from the committees or any hints of what's going to be released. But it does feel like it is, you know, broader than that because just having a standard doesn't necessarily mean you're doing things right. You know, you've checked some boxes, but there's a whole broader part to it. And it even seems like the standards themselves are changing more because, you know, people are saying culture might be acknowledged more in some upcoming standards and, you know, sustainability and other broader trends that I feel like are trickling down into the standards too. So it is a kind of a larger trend. Like people realize if people are engaged at work, the work will go better and you'll have less turnover and that will help, you know, everything along the way. So yeah, it does feel like they're connected, but there's definitely, you know, it's a lot more than just.
If you're getting value out of this video, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit subscribe, and please leave me your comment because I'm always anxious to hear from them and I will answer every comment.
An audit.
Do you find that when you're seeking contributions from folks that they're moving more to the leadership and cultural side as much as the regulatory or how to ensure you've got standard operating procedures and audit checklists and so on? Do you find that do you try to balance the blend, or do you find that your magazine is leaning more towards the leadership side?
I feel like there's definitely a balance. Like we always do try to include, you know, profiles of, you know, notable people in quality and like how to be a quality leader or advice on successful companies. But there's definitely also interest in kind of basics and, you know, certain types of gauges to use or, you know, just a backstory on, you know, certain software trends and,
Mm.
you know, because even with like all the tools out there, people sometimes say like, one of those most popular articles was this big money from small data story we ran. And so the whole premise was like, you don't need a fancy whatever if you know how to like use your Excel better and maybe get some other plugins or something. So it really was nice to hear like, yeah, there are all these big ideas, but like, what can I try using today? And so that was kind of what that story was.